Anyway, the biggest thing, I think, for me, out of the leaks, the Matt Hancock leaks today was, and just bear in mind that I'm a news junkie, so this is nothing to do with like protective rings around people and commitments thereof. This is purely news related. Okay. The biggest thing that it crept out through the fog of the PPE stuff and the 100,000 a day target and the manipulation of the figures, but like deep in the mist, almost ignored out of all of the leaks, the scandal, etc., was this little exchange between the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, and George Osborne, former Tory Chancellor George Osborne, but who at that time was editor of the Evening Standard. Okay? So just bear in mind, George Osborne used to be Tory Chancellor at a time when Matt Hancock was still Conservative MP. He just wasn't, I don't think he was a cabinet minister then. Anyway, I have to assume that the two of them were on reasonably good terms based on the exchange that I'm about to read out to you. But anyway, here it goes. Here's the exchange. So, Matt Hancock says, I need to call in a favour tomorrow. I currently have 22,000 spare slots at the drive-thrus, and he means testing, right? Like back when you would, do you remember when you would like drive up, you would get tested, you would put your test into the little thing, and then later on they would text you and tell you whether you had COVID or not. So he has 22,000 spare slots at these drive-thrus. And then he says, demand just isn't there. And this is obviously good news about the spread of the virus, but it's hard for my target. And what he means is that 100,000 a day, right? So then he says, so I could really do with a testing splash. Like, can we make this happen? Like, so just back up a minute, right? Hancock is suggesting that people aren't going to get tested. It's just not happening, which he thinks is a good thing, right? Because it means that the virus has slowed down. But can I get the front page splash of the Evening Standard anyway? Because I've put my career on the line for this unrealistic 100,000 a day test fucking target. And then Osborne, right, being the editor of a publication, knowing his responsibilities to the public, to report without fear or favour, then asks Hancock what on earth he's thinking, pressuring the editor of a newspaper to print favourable coverage of a government minister. And then Hancock reflects and he apologises and he suggests that they refer themselves to the Independent Press Standards Organisation, and then they form an alliance and they spend the remainder of their respective careers campaigning for greater political transparency between Whitehall and Fleet Street, and then they lobby for press regulation. And then we fade to black and the credits roll where the Pixies' Where Is My Mind plays, and no, fucking none of that happened. None of it happened. Of course it didn't. Instead, Osborne says, sure, just send me the words. You're almost there with your target. If I can help you, yeah, fine. It's unfucking believable. The editor of a newspaper gets a text from a government minister asking if he can just have the front page splash of the Evening Standard, one of the most widely read newspapers in London. And the editor just goes, and this is word for word, this is a quote, here we go. Osborne just goes, yes, of course. All you need to do is give some exclusive words to the Standard, and I will tell the team to splash it. You're almost there. Send me the words by 8 a.m. Like this whole time, I've been trying to get press for this podcast. I've been emailing the Huffington Post. I've been troll tweeting the Daily Mail. I've honestly been tweeting them saying like, hey, yeah, do you know my dad used to work for the BBC and my whole family voted Remain? You know, could you run a couple of hit pieces on me, you know, so I can fuck around and get verified? I've prank called The Sun. I've sent press releases out about, you know, high-profile guests. This person has been on and they said this. And this whole time, All I had to do to get a front page splash of the Evening fucking Standard was just ask George Osborne. Oh, do I feel silly?